We'll give Pat a big hand. Let's give him a hand.
I wanted to do a big formal training. Thanks, Angelo. You know, you've heard me talk a million times about this, so I don't want to bore you with totally what's been going on. But I think just to piggyback what Angelo said, and I always say this every time I get in front of the room, is, you know, what is your focus on a daily basis? What do you focus on? And there's so many different plates that we spin here, right? That you could think about all the things you got to do, and then all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock, and you didn't get anything done. How many of you have had days like that?
Absolutely.
You know, we think about that. You know, this morning you get up, okay, I got to work on my business. What am I going to do today? Well, I'm going to return a couple phone calls, and then before you know it, you get a couple phone calls that are non-business related, and then before you know it, you're derailed. Nothing happens for the day. Is this true?
Yeah.
Has it happened to me? All right.
Yeah.
So if it happens to me, it's going to happen to you. So, you know, when it comes to the Heartland stuff, I just think that, again, what do you want to do here? You know, do you want that to be a part of your business or not? And I think if you've experienced it, like some of us have, and what I mean by that is doing a class, having the person sit down and say, thank you so much for coming here. What do you need from me? Can you just show me how to get started? How many of you like those meetings when someone refers you to a friend and you show up and they're just like, yeah, so-and-so told me you did a great job and this is, I need all this, can you help me? And you're like, absolutely, let's just get started. But that's how almost every, well, I shouldn't say every, but a good percentage of the follow-up meetings are from a Heartland class. Because why? You've taught the class, you've created some trust, you've provided some value, and now they're like, hey, listen, I need the help. If they're like 90% of the people out there, they don't have anything in place outside of their employer, right? And they're looking for guidance. That's all it is. So all I can say to you is that if you want to continue, so we're done with first quarter, and how many of you were happy with the number of meetings that you did where you were in a position to do some business? I would say the majority of us are not happy with those. If we had 10 of those a week, you know, everyone would come here and you couldn't even put a frown on anyone's face, okay? Because you'd be so happy about your activity. But it takes time to build that up. It takes a long time to build that up. You know, Eric Fisher, he's one of the CFEDs from the Heartland Institute. And when I went out and saw him, I mean, and this guy's a machine. I mean, he just teaches class all week long. His average client from a class brings him 20,000 points. Each client, 20,000 points, okay? Now his, whatever, let's just assume that's $13,000, $14,000 per client, or per person that you meet with. How many classes do you need to do, right? So
what does he say he makes? His income now is from the classes, and then his residual.
So he's built up his AUM because he has a 65. His AUM pays him $150 a year.
Wow.
Just his AUM. Okay, and he makes about another $200 to $250 just from the classes. So he just keeps building that every year. Okay, so not too bad. If you did a couple classes a month and you did half of that, I'd be happy with that, right? So, but again, it starts with, okay, who am I contacting this week? I think what Angelo's saying is true. I think the real reason why we get nervous is because you don't know where to begin. Where do I begin with this? You know, he mentions a company like Comcast, like, that's scary. That's really scary. Like, how do you even begin to penetrate something like that? This is where you start. You start with your friends and family by asking them, where do you work? You know, you may already know that answer, so you don't ask them that. You just say, hey, listen, first, the only thing you got to do this week is develop a spreadsheet or a list of all the people that you know that work for a company. Just start with that. Just start with that. It could be 20 people, it could be 10 people, whatever it is. Just start with a fresh list this week of people that you know that work for a company. And who cares if they work for the Department of Defense? Write it down, okay? It doesn't matter where they work, you just got to start somewhere. And then the next thing is you reach out to them through all these emails or all these things that we've created and say, listen, you know what? I wanted to reach out to you. I have an affiliation with a nonprofit that provides financial education classes for corporations. Does your company provide any financial education classes? And what are they going to say? Majority of the time they're going to say no. Okay? But is that a start?
Mm-hmm.
So on your spreadsheet, you mark down the conversation. I talked to so-and-so about their company. They don't provide any educational classes. Great. Would you mind if I have a call with you or meet with you with one of one of our trainers from our non-for-profit that teaches classes, so maybe we can educate you about what we do. Maybe that needs to be your next step. Maybe you need to team up with a CFED just to talk to your friend about what we do. You may be like, Pat, but that's not even the HR. I know, but this helps build your confidence of understanding what we do. All right, these are 5 more appointments you could do this week, or conference calls. Maybe you don't have to meet with them in person. Just do a conference call with your friend. And let's say you called. Let's say you called me up. I say, listen, let's call Amy. Hey, Amy, my name's Pat. I know you're friends with so and so here. She just wanted me to explain a little bit about our non-for-profit, her affiliation with us. This is what we do. She's working with me in coordination to teaching classes. Amy, do you happen to know the HR professional at your employer or the benefits manager? Yeah, in fact I do. Or I know their name, I can get their contact. Would you mind if we were able to reach out to them? Or can we send an email to you introducing the program that you could forward on to your HR manager? No problem. It's a start. It's a start. It's a start somewhere. That started with me with a IT company downtown, and it took me 4 months to get in. One day I was coming back from a big event, and I got a phone call. Hey, Pat, I know you've been trying to get in touch with us. We're ready for a class. Great. That class has just, that company just keep coming back. Okay, I can't tell you how much money that company's paid me, okay? But it took some time and effort, like everything, right? Now, into the grant program, anybody questions on that?
I would like to even just take the approach with the college planning. Just because, I mean, college education being so expensive, and it's like, you know, we do the workshops here. However, you know, that's kind of like a plateau, if you will. But even...
It's funny you bring this up. Angela and I went, and I'm going to emphasize your point here. We went to a SHRM meeting, and we went because we were spying on this guy, because he does what we do, right? But he's a financial planner. What is he? Certified CPA? No, not a CPA. CFA. CFP. And he has his own organization. He's with LPL, but he goes into companies and teaches financial education classes. And so, but one of the HR managers raised their hand. Okay, we weren't talking. We were just sitting there in the front row. And this lady goes, you know what we really need at my company is we need someone to come in and teach our people how college planning works.
Absolutely.
Because that's the concern of most of my employees. They're always coming up to me asking me. So yeah, whatever approach you want to take, it doesn't matter. But the thing is, you got to start somewhere with an organized list, right? And get started that way, okay? Because you'd be surprised on how many people that you reach out to where they know the HR manager maybe really well. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's my friend Susie or my friend Mike. No problem. Yeah, get in contact with them. But when it comes from the employee, it's much stronger than, right? Than you calling directly. Because if you just try to do cold calls, forget it. You're going to be frustrated and you're never going to do this thing. Because I've done that. Okay. Quick question.
Yes. So I met this weekend a mortgage broker, his wife who's a real estate broker, and then I also met a principal who's retired and travels the world and has been everywhere. So when they ask me what I do, I say I work with a center that teaches financial literacy. Then what's the next thing to bring up? Bring up Heartland. What do you think would be, so I can get some.
Hey, does the organization you're affiliated with provide financial education classes?
Yeah.
Just as I said a minute ago, you know, just start with that. Ask your friend, does your company provide financial education? Yeah, the 401k provider comes in once a month or once a year, but what do? They sit in the lunchroom with a fancy suit on, and everyone's intimidated to talk to them. And they're going to talk over their head. And what are they concerned about? Getting more money in the 401k, right. That's it. They don't care about your college planning. They don't care about your debt management. They don't care about your insurance protection. They don't care about any of that stuff. Make sense? Yep. All right, so going back to the grant program, because this is what Angela wanted me to really talk about, was it's a tool, all right? And I've been using it, and it works like a charm. They don't know how many grants I really have, all right? But we just taught a class at Cisco Foods, and you know, Cisco Foods is the largest food distributor in the country, okay? It took me years to get in that. With my brother being a veteran there for 25 years, still couldn't get in, okay? Finally, they gave me a chance, all right? Obviously, once you got your foot in the door and you got a good presenter and someone that's going to teach the class well, what do you think they did? Did he come back? This is better than we ever had with Fidelity. Because that was what they were fighting me with, was, hey, Fidelity comes here. I know they come there, but they don't do it the way we do it. So once we did the class, they're like, wow, this was way better than Fidelity. And it's not me, looking at, or Todd. It was just the material. It's the way we approach it.
Mhm.
Okay, so I wanted to get into another class, so I simply said, hey, listen, you know what? I sent her an email, and this is where you team up with the CFPD. Don't feel like you need to write all this down. Sent her an email, and I said, listen, Teresa, this year the Institute has offered me a couple of grants. Here's how it works. If you're interested, I got to file a request for you. I've attached the application, because if you tell them to fill it out, it's just their name. I mean, it's crazy, you know, that would seem weird. So I say, I'll fill this out, submit it for you. I'll submit a letter explaining why I think Cisco could benefit from this. She said, great. And I go, all I need from you is a couple dates. I got the email back within 5 minutes with the dates. Okay, so we did the class a couple weeks ago. Great turnout, good follow-up, and then we did a second one on this week. Everyone signed up for a one-on-one, and then I just leveraged Money Smart Week. Said, hey, why don't we do another one for Money Smart Week? I'll ask the Institute if they'll allow me to do another 45-minute class. She goes, that would be fantastic. But once you build a relationship, this is what I left her with. I go, why don't we get a schedule going for the entire year? We'll do a class in the first quarter on X. We'll do a class second quarter on X. We'll do a college planning class. And then we'll finish up the year with budgeting for the next year. I go, that's what we do for several of our companies. Does that sound like a good idea? Yeah, let's discuss that. You want to keep the relationship going.
Mhm.
You don't want to be a one and done. Because you work hard for the relationship to get in. Why not maintain it? Make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So as far as the position goes, don't get caught up in it like Angelo said. Caught up with some activity first. You know, a lot of times we think about the problem and there's really no problem because there's no activity to support it, the problem. I'm not saying all of you are like that, but I hear that, and I said, you know, listen, let's just start with anything, all right? But we should have an answer here within the next week or so, but even if we don't get the answer we want, I don't think it should slow anybody down. Just partner with the CFPD to do this and do your reach. But let's start with the list first. 5 to 10 friends that you know, what company they work with, a simple phone call this week. Hey, the company you work for, it's X, right? They provide financial education classes. No, tell me more. I'm affiliated with a nonprofit. This is what we do. Just say you're affiliated. You don't have to say you're a certified financial educator or anything like that. Just say, hey, I'm affiliated with this nonprofit, and I'm reaching out to you to see if maybe your company would have an interest in providing some classes. Well, I don't know. Well, you mind if I do another call with you to explain more about it, and then reach out to a CFPD? Say, listen, I got 5 people that I want to do a quick call with to explain the program so we can talk to their HR manager. But don't feel like it's got to be perfect. It doesn't, okay? None of mine are perfect by any means, okay? It's just the program sells itself. When you say you're a nonprofit and you provide financial education, protected with ERISA, I mean, Comcast was a 10-minute meeting and we went in, you know, then there was a relationship there, but there was nothing controversial at all about what we talked about because it's non-solicitous. So, I think that's it. All right.
That's perfect.
That's perfect. Everybody committed to doing something this week? Can you make some? I know you inspire me.